been winning. Both of their wins have been pretty much dominant, to say the least. And for any team so far, not saying that if I'm wrong, who did they play? I mean, they played the Jets. Okay, I got that. Who did they play week 1?
They played Tennessee. So
they had one quality game, but still they've been showing dominance so far. Mm-hmm. And like I said last year, if it wasn't for Derek Carr getting injured, I felt like they could have made it to the Super Bowl. So as long as Derek Carr is healthy, and with Marshawn Lynch added to the fold, along with their backup running back, well, who is the second running back they have?
I'm not even sure right now. I know Latavius Murray's not there anymore.
Right.
I'm not really 100% sure.
I forgot. I know their backup had a good touchdown too. I think that was this game, if not the game before. But either way, I like their team. To me, they've been the only dominant team right now. So that's why they're number 1 for my top 5.
Okay. So
what were you about to say? You say you was getting upset over there.
I didn't see New England in there. So, okay, where would you have New England ranked right now?
Where would I have them ranked?
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you where I have the Rams ranked.
I have New England. Now I'm trying to go by everything, record and all. Now, I mean, not necessarily,
Are they outside of your top 10?
No, okay. They're my top 10.
Okay.
I would actually give them number 7.
Okay. So I'm thinking you put Denver over them.
Yeah. Okay. I got Denver at like number 6. You
want to ask me where are the Rams in my top 10?
Are they in the top 10?
They're not even in the top 15. I'm sorry, man. But if I were to rank the Rams right now, they'll probably be right in the middle of the pack right now. 15, 16, somewhere around there. So they're not like in the 20s or the 30s. So, I mean, they're showing some promise right now. I kind of like how your top 5 rounded off. You went with all the undefeated teams there.
Yeah.
I was very surprised you had Detroit as high as you had them, and Atlanta. I thought you would definitely go with Atlanta a lot higher. And you caught me off guard with Oakland at 1. I thought for sure Kansas City was going to be your number 1.
I wanted to have them at my number 1, but like I said, just the way that the Raiders all around have been performing, that's why I gave them the edge between the two.
Okay. Well, it's your top 5, so
right.
I mean, I feel New England will be in there next week.
Time will tell, my friend.
Yeah, time will tell. But we both agreed on Pittsburgh being in there, Atlanta, Kansas City, and Oakland. The only one we kind of didn't have in there, you substitute New England over Detroit. So
yeah,
okay.
That's it.
Well, if we're all clear on week 2 recap, and you guys kind of got an idea of who our top 5 teams are of the first 2 weeks of the season, we will get back on the NFL later in our podcast with our week 3 predictions. As of right now, the standings is CJ through the first 2 weeks. C Moody is 23-8. Myself, D Moody, is 17-14. So he has a 6-game lead over me right now, which is not really that big of a lead. A lot can change. He could really add more to his lead next week if I have a bad week. So I still need to continue to try to pick as many right to try to catch him there. But he's leading the way through the first 2 weeks of the season. So we're going to close this segment out. Coming up next, we're going to have our college football recap. We'll talk to you about the new top 10 and how that looks, how things change there. We'll recap some of the wild games that took place. We had some crazy endings in college football this week, and it will lead into the week 4 matchups. We'll also talk about some Heisman hopefuls as well coming up on this sports podcast. 2 Moodys,
1 Duty.
Sports.
We'll be right back. back, baby. Sports moves. 2 Moodys.
1 duty.
Sports.
So right now we're going to get into some college football. Week 3. So we had some really wild finishes this week in college football. We had some big games, and we're going to kind of recap some of the notable games that took place that caught our attention over this past week. We'll also get into the new top 10 as it stands as we push toward that college football playoff. And then we'll also get into some Heisman hopefuls who put up some big performances this week and who C. Moody thinks is kind of leading in that category. Biggest game on tap for last week was number 3, Clemson, the defending national champions, taking on the defending Heisman Trophy winner and the Louisville Cardinals, who were ranked number 14. Both of these teams going into this game was 2-0. Clemson opened up the season with their first 2 games at home, so this was a true road test for them, for their first-year starting quarterback, Bryant Kelly, his first road start of his career. Now, we do know he's been showing us some really good things over the past couple of weeks to open up the season, a double threat. He's a runner and a passer. Put up some pretty good numbers, 216 yards passing in this game, 26 yards rushing on the ground. He accounted for 3 total touchdowns. One of the things that stood out to me in this Clemson win, they won the game 47-21. Their wide receivers, C. Moody, I don't know if you had a chance to kind of watch the game, as in detail, but I noticed their wide receivers used a lot of double moves in this game, and that gave them a lot of separations on a lot of those breakaway touchdowns.
Really?
And they kind of took advantage of the Louisville secondary. For example, the Ray McLeod touchdown for the 79 yards. He kind of just did a little head fake and shifted back the other way, and he was open. The safety bit, and that was the end of the story.
Wow.
That was a 79-yard touchdown reception on a 4-play drive that went for 90 yards. The difference for me in this matchup was in last season's matchup when these two teams played down in Clemson was that the Louisville defense looked pretty strong against Deshaun Watson. They forced a couple of turnovers on him. But this time around, Clemson's offense was kind of more, we got more of a great performance out of their offense. A lot of people thought Louisville would come out with that type of energy on offense, which it was really tough for them. They really didn't get anything going in the game as much offensively. But you can go ahead and hit on some of your thoughts of what you thought how this game went.
No, I just wanted to get on one major thing. Clemson's defense. They really showed their dominance in this. And like you said, with the wide receivers, it kind of just showed it exposed the weaknesses that Louisville's defense has altogether. So, that was a big thing. Clemson's defense definitely took it to Lamar Jackson, and he made him work for it, and he couldn't overcome that defense, at least to stay in the game. And like you said, Clemson's offense definitely took advantage of Louisville's defense, and they ran up the score basically. So
they did. This win for Clemson now has given them 11 consecutive road wins. That's now a school record for them.
Wow!
In college football, man, if you can go on the road in a lot of those tough environments like that, and win those games against those top tier teams, those top ranked teams, Dabo Swinney has a really great record against SEC teams, but also against teams who are ranked. So, to win those types of games in those hostile environments was big. Lamar Jackson still put up a decent game. A lot of his offense came late in that game in garbage time, but he had 317 yards passing, 64 rushing touchdowns, 3 total touchdowns in the game. As we mentioned, a lot of that came against the defensive reserves. Now, the first quarter, the game was tied at 7, so I'm thinking, hey, we're going to get a good little game here. But then Clemson went on to score 26 straight points to take like a 33-7 lead in the fourth quarter. Bryant made a lot of plays. He made more plays than Lamar Jackson did. And that's just, he looked kind of more of like I don't want to get too extreme, like a Heisman caliber quarterback, but he played better than the defending Heisman Trophy winner. And Jackson was pretty much the one who had all the hype going into the
exactly.
game. You know, given the way that he performed the first couple of games of the season. So
they definitely made it sound like if anybody was going to expose the Clemson defense, would have been Lamar Jackson. So for him to not do that definitely shows how complete the Clemson defense really is.
Yeah, and you got to give it to them. They are playing at a high level right now. Also, again, another big play to Louisville defense, another hole in that defense. They gave up an 81-yard touchdown run to Travis. I want to say his name is Atini, But, I mean, they gave up 2 plays of almost 80 yards, one through the passing game, one through the running game. Defensively, you're not going to win many football games when you're giving up those types of plays.
Not at all.
And to me, it just looks like Clemson can repeat again. What do you think?
Definitely, man. The way their defense hasn't lost a step. Honestly, this team looks just as complete as it did last year, especially even with them having a replacement quarterback now that Deshaun Watson's gone. It really doesn't look like they've lost a step. So, as of right now, man, I'm really actually looking at seeing another Clemson-Bama repeat.
Could be. It very well could be. I think they got a lot of energy right now. This is a big win for. This is the first game they've had in the ACC play, so you know they're 1-0 in their conference right now. A big road win on a big Saturday night game like that. They're looking like they could do it all over again. In my view of things, they're looking pretty good right now. So Clemson is now 3-0. Louisville falls to 2-1. So Clemson still looking like one of those top teams out there as of week 3 in college football. The next game we're going to move on to was an SEC showdown between Tennessee and Florida. This is probably one of the wildest finishes.
Oh, man.
Probably one of the best finishes of the season thus far. And we'll let CJ play a little clip of how this game ended, and then we'll kind of give you our thoughts on it.
All right, this is going to be from the Florida Gators YouTube page, and this is just how the last play of the game went.
So now here we are, 9 seconds left. Gators first down, 37-yard line, left hash. Snap to Franks. Franks dropping back, stepping up, running the ball, looking. He's going to heave one deep down the field. It's going to be to the goal line. It's going to be caught. It's a touchdown, and the Gators have won the game. Kyrie Cleveland. Oh, my. I can't believe what I just saw. The Gators have won the ball game on a bomb thrown by Felipe Franks, and this place is an insane asylum again. Oh, my. Ball game. Gators have beaten Tennessee again.
He ain't had to add it again. Part of
the passion, like
oh yeah,
I love commentary like that. That just gives you goosebumps a little bit.
Definitely.
You know, in Tennessee and Florida, man, they're true rivals. So that's got to feel good.
Yeah. For
the Gators, there getting that win back from last year where they lost to them. This was a kind of like a weird game. By the way, that Hail Mary was for 63 yards. And pretty much, you know, Tyree was wide open on that play at the end of the game. Felipe Franks kind of scrambled out and just kind of let it hang in the air, and then the prayer was answered. So it takes some arm strength to throw a ball that far down the field.
Definitely.
But it was a low-scoring first half. The fireworks really took place in the fourth quarter. They had both teams combined for 37 points in that fourth quarter.
Wow.
You know, at halftime, it was, pretty much a 6-3 game. So it's like one of those, oh, man, this is going to be a defensive struggle type start. But then Florida actually took a 10-point lead in this game. They led 20-10 with 5 minutes left in the game. And Tennessee came roaring back. They had a quick score. Then they ended up forcing a turnover on Florida's next drive. It was kind of off a tip drill interception, kind of batted pass in the air. It falls in the hands of the defender.
Gotcha.
And Tennessee kicked a short field goal to tie the game at 20.